Yes, it is. All right, so motion capture in VR, week 2. We're going to get heavily into IPySoft today, or IPySoft.
Yeah, I looked up the IPySoft and the version we did because there's
We'll go through it. Good question. You going to try to record at home?
Probably. You still need to go to Connect, but those are pretty cheap if you buy them used.
Good. Good deal.
Do you know what Kinect's used for?
What's that?
Is the Kinect only used for like motion capture at this point? Is they only use it for game anymore?
I don't know. I'd be really interested in building a game for the Kinect. Just to say I did it. There's a lot of art installations too.
Yeah.
Those are cool. You know what that technology is really being used for is for Twitch streamcasters. Instead of green screening out based on a white background or a green background, they will figure out where you are and everything else is just deleted from the picture.
The shape of games for that are awful, except for Just Dance.
What's that?
The games for the Kinect work absolutely awful, except for the Kinect, except for the game Just Dance.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody's like actually figured out how to do that yet. Besides, Just Dance, is that Ubisoft too?
No idea. Announcements, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so yesterday when I was wearing my black dress pants and I basically looked invisible to the cameras, I wrote up this PSA, dress code for motion capture. The motion capture is a bit picky, and when you're using the Blackmagic like we are in this class, it's smart to make things as easy as possible in the computers that make this possible. Avoid the following: plaid, shorts, short sleeves, black as the void clothing, because infrared doesn't bounce off of it well, and baggy clothes. I guess I haven't really had a chance to explain to this class how the Kinect sensors work, have I?
Not really.
No, we talked about VR the last time, and that was going to.
Cool.
That was awesome.
So, the Kinect camera has, I think, 3 ports. Let me see if I have one right here. I guess I can.
Basically, what I'm getting from the PSA is that the preferred method of clothing is bright green skin tight suit.
Yeah. I know where to buy those. It's a black one.
So, we have 3
Yeah.
3 things. One of them is a regular camera, RGB, and that's used for knowing what those solid colors are. And then there's another one which is a emitter. It's an infrared emitter, and it emits 1,000 lines vertically and 1,000 lines horizontally in a grid. So you've got a grid of vertical and horizontal lines, and much like a flashlight, here's these, and they're being displayed out from the camera, right? Kind of like this. Okay, so far away from the camera, this square is big, but as it gets closer to the camera, this square is going to be smaller because it's projecting outwards, and the farther away it is, the bigger it is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So what it does is there's a person standing in the middle here. Okay. So the squares on the background are this big, and the squares on the person are much smaller, and that's how it tells depth. It tells depth based on the distance between the squares, or how big or small the squares are. And so when you get the raw data, and we'll look at that in just a little bit, what you'll see is just a bunch of dots in this perfect grid going back and forth. And then finally, the last camera is an infrared camera that sees those lines and matches them up with the video data, and that's how everything is combined. Okay. So that is the infrared camera. So I'll show you what we've got. Yesterday I did some recording, and I got two motion capture projects. And here, if we just watched the video, you could see what I'm doing here. Very dorky things, I understand. Notice how the yellow here is, I don't know the depth of this space, and my pants are almost entirely yellow. It's very frustrating.
Isn't there the depth of anything that's like shaded? It seems like, I guess, the shadow on your head there's a lot of yellow on the back.
So here's the dot structure that I was talking about. If we pause right here, we can zoom in and see each individual dot and where it exists as kind of a flat plane.
That is cool.
Like I said, today we'll have a lot better ones to mess with. So what it does after that is it sees these dots, and you match up where you, where the character is based on this T-pose, and then it will guess and try to put a skeleton next to it for the rest of the time, and then you get this as an output. Okay, questions?
Is it like good enough to do fingers, or are we gonna have to do that ourselves?
You'll have to do fingers yourself.
Okay.
And in fact, by default, it doesn't track head motion. You can enable head tracking here with mixed results. But as it is right now, the head will simply follow the spine. So as your shoulders turn, so does the head of your character. Okay.
Like just have your hand super close to the thing and get some skeleton back.
Because that's not really going to time for this full body situation, it just doesn't even track that. A different program could. A different program could. There is a plugin for Motion Builder to allow your Leap Motion controller. Who knows about Leap Motion controllers? It's essentially a Kinect, but it's about this big, and it tracks your hands. It was built to be put on the front of a virtual reality headset so that you could use your hands to pinch and zoom and flick things and throw things with your hands. And in fact, there are things like Leap Motion magic game. Games like this one that lets you actually throw spells with your hands, and it's all very cool.
The black space, no?
Yeah, I gotta bring my Leap Motion in. We gotta mess with this.
Looks like
A little bit.
Anyway, yeah, lots of fun things we can do with that. We'll look into that more later. Today, though, we are messing with Ippysoft, and today I recorded a new thing, but I didn't have a calibration file for it, and I doubt that it would work again. So where am I looking? Dropbox, motion capture in VR, 27. We'll see how this goes. This might not work at all. So what it's going to initially do is it won't track anything by default. So this is an example of what the computer understands skeleton-wise and then what the data is. So I'm going to go back to the first frame, the last frame where I have my T-pose. I'm going to set that to be my workable area. And we'll just go to the next T-pose for this instance. Okay. And what you'll do at the first frame is you'll do your best to line up this character. Like that. Yeah, the ground is different. That's not going to be good. And click refit pose, and then track forward.
Basically, it's trying to render it.
Yep. It's trying to track these arms, and the problem is that I have the wrong calibration file, so it's not going to work well at all.
Is one of the arms just okay?
Yeah, one of the arms is inside itself. Okay, so let's take a pause on this and just go over to the other computer and do some recording. What do you guys say?
Sure.
All right.